This is cognitive thread, and what I'm about to show you took researchers decades to figure out. It is about good managers can be as important as the entire team. The study also shows that those who are most eager to become managers are not necessarily the best suited to the role, and the answer is nothing like what you have been told. The people who desperately want to become managers are statistically the worst at the job. Meanwhile, the people who could transform your entire organization are probably hoping nobody notices their talent. And the reason why will completely change how you see yourself. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Your desire for power might be the exact thing disqualifying you from using it well. When organizational psychologist Lily Ling studied promotion patterns across 47 companies, she found something that contradicted every leadership seminar you've ever sat through. The employees most eager to climb the ladder, the ones who volunteered for leadership roles, who talked about their ambitions, who positioned themselves for advancement, performed worse as managers than the people who were reluctant to take the job. This isn't about intelligence or competence. These ambitious people were often brilliant at their individual work. But something happens when they get power, something predictable, and something broken. Let's define what we're talking about. A good manager isn't just someone who hits targets or keeps people busy. A good manager amplifies the talent around them. They make their team better than the sum of its parts. They create psychological safety, the measurable feeling that you can take risks without fear of humiliation. They develop other people's skills instead of hoarding credit. And here's the uncomfortable part. This requires a specific type of person. Someone who gains energy from other people's success, not their own status. The mechanism is rooted in what researchers call the dominance-competence paradox. When someone has a high need for power, when they're motivated by status, control, and recognition, they unconsciously make decisions that protect that status, even when those decisions hurt the team. Psychologist David McClellan spent decades studying motivation patterns. He found that people fall into three camps: those driven by achievement, those driven by affiliation, and those driven by power. Here's what's critical. The power-driven people are not bad, but they make different choices. When a decision could either make the team better or make them look better, the power-driven brain leans toward the second option. It's not conscious. It's like gravity. It just pulls. But here's where research gets disturbing. The people best suited for management often actively resist the role. When Harvard Business Review surveyed over 2,000 employees about who they'd want as a manager, the top answers were consistent. People who asked thoughtful questions, who admitted uncertainty, who celebrated others. And then they asked those potential managers if they wanted the job. Most of them said no. They didn't want the power. They didn't want the title. They wanted to keep doing their work. And that self-awareness, that knowledge that they might not be the right fit, is actually the strongest signal they'd be excellent at it. Let's see how this plays out in the real world. Example 1. The software engineer. Dev team at a fintech company. One engineer, Marcus, was brilliant. He could solve impossible problems. His code was clean. Teams wanted him on their projects. When he was promoted to engineering manager, his team's productivity dropped 23% in the first 6 months. Why? Marcus had gotten promoted because he was technically exceptional. But as a manager, he spent meetings explaining why people's solutions were wrong instead of asking why they chose those approaches. He needed to be the smartest person in the room. His need for status made him a bottleneck. Example 2. The reluctant leader. Different company, same pattern. Sarah was a project coordinator. Nothing flashy. People just worked better when she was around. She asked good questions. She listened. When leadership finally pressured her into a manager role, she almost quit, but she took it. Her team's engagement scores jumped, turnover dropped. Project completion time improved. She didn't want the power. That's exactly what made her good at it. Example 3. The ambitious VP. Large retail corporation. Ambitious guy named Derek. Every meeting he's talking about his 5-year plan, his goal to be a C-suite executive, his personal brand. He got promoted to VP. Within 2 years, 3 of his 5 direct reports left. The best talent on his team transferred out. Exit interviews showed the same theme. People felt like props in Derek's career movie, not people he believed in. Example 4, the invisible manager, government agency. Woman named Chen, nobody really noticed for years. Just did her work, helped colleagues, no self-promotion. When she became a department head, something shifted. Suddenly, the entire department had clarity about its mission. People felt heard. Difficult problems got solved faster because people brought them to Chen instead of hiding them. She'd been doing the invisible leadership work for years without needing credit. Example 5, the expert turned manager, medical practice. Dr. James was one of the best physicians, technically flawless. Patients requested him, so they made him chief medical officer. Immediately, the culture shifted toward perfectionism and fear of mistakes. Younger doctors felt scrutinized instead of supported. Patient satisfaction actually declined because the team was more focused on avoiding James's judgment than on great care. We're almost there, and the explanation changes everything about what ambition really means. So why does this happen? The answer involves your nervous system and something called threat detection. When someone is high in power motivation, their brain is constantly scanning for threats to their status. It's like having your threat detector set too high. You see challenges as threats. You see colleagues' success as competition. You interpret questions as doubt. Your nervous system is optimizing for one thing: protecting and expanding your status. A person with lower power motivation has a different baseline. Their threat detector is calibrated differently. They're scanning for problems to solve, opportunities to help, ways to develop people. Same situation, different nervous system interpretation. The reason ambitious people fail as managers is that ambition and good management require opposing psychological orientations. One pulls inward to the self, one pulls outward to others. Now here's the second layer. What does this mean for you? If you're reading a lot about leadership and thinking about advancement, you might have some power motivation. That's normal. That's human. But the question becomes, what kind of power do you actually want? There's a difference between wanting power over situations and wanting power for something. One is self-directed, one is mission-directed, one protects status, one builds capacity. The actionable insight here has 4 parts. First, pay attention to your actual reaction to leadership. If you're daydreaming about the title, the salary, the corner office, that's power motivation speaking. If you're thinking about problems you want to solve with a larger platform, that's different. Neither is bad, but one makes you a better manager. Second, seek feedback about your relationships, not your achievements. Ask people, do you feel better or worse after talking to me? Do you leave conversations with more clarity or more self-doubt? If the answer is clarity, you might be management material. If it's self-doubt, you might want to stay in an individual contributor role, and that's a win too. Third, if you are promoted, recognize your blind spots. Your power motivation will pull you toward protecting status without you knowing it. Set up regular feedback loops. Ask your team, do you feel safe disagreeing with me? Do you feel like your growth matters to me, or like you're just helping my agenda? These uncomfortable questions are your truth-telling device. Fourth, stop confusing ambition with leadership readiness. The best organizations don't promote their most ambitious people. They promote their most self-aware people. They promote people who've thought about why they want power, and the answer has nothing to do with them. The research on this is getting clearer every year. McClellan's work, Ling's recent studies, and work by Olivia Fox-Caban on presence all point to the same conclusion. The person who least wants the power is often the person most ready to wield it well. So the answer to why ambitious people make bad managers is simple, because ambition and great management pull in opposite directions. Your drive for status can blind you to what your team actually needs. But here's what's interesting. This same mechanism explains something even darker about how power changes people's perception of reality itself, and we're going to explore that next. If you found this useful, subscribe for more psychology that actually matters.